Hey everyone, welcome to Friday live Q&A. Woohoo! Favorite time of the week. This is my opportunity to answer questions that may be coming up in your life around money, sex, God, any of that juiciness. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Hey, happy new moon. I'm feeling the juicy, kind of like cuddly, squishy warmth of the new moon. It makes me happy. So welcome, 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 those of you that are coming in. This is your chance to ask any questions that are popping up, anything that's arising around money, sex, or God. I'm here. Hi, I see some people on Instagram, Facebook, amazing. So I have some questions in the backlog, so I'm gonna answer those quickly, and then I only have one. So you guys can go ahead and type in any other questions that might come up while I answer this one. Okay, so just type in your questions. I'm gonna put here, type in any, oops, almost lost my Instafeed. Any questions? Okay, great. Okay, so here was a question that I had from someone. She said, I can feel things and let all the things come up for me that want to in my mind and body. But then where do I go from there? I can feel it and let it move through me, but it doesn't shift my mind. And then not knowing or not receiving an answer kind of leaves me in an emotional state of anxiety. Is there something that follows the feeling and allowing? What happens from there? Okay, so the response to this question is that if you're wondering what to do next, you're not fully allowing. You're not fully in the letting go. So allow yourself to feel all the things that come up. Bring your erotic energy into it, bring your pleasure into it, and find the places in your body that need to be released, that need to find an opening. Allow them to open, allow it to ripple through you, and then do nothing. Do nothing, be nothing. Trust, let go, fall back, surrender. The next steps will be shown to you little by little. From that place of surrender, you can start to make little steps, right? One after another after another. But it's, if we're wondering what to do, we haven't fully let go yet. We haven't fully surrendered yet. So I would play with a deeper level of surrender. I remember when I was working on this in my own life a few years ago, I remember like asking the universe to help me surrender. And the universe is almost laughing back at me because you don't need to try to surrender, right? But for me, my nervous system had no idea how to do it. And so I just kept going, please help me let go, help me let go, help me let go. Until finally it happened through a series of basically deconditioning my nervous system, right? Every day that I did a self-pleasure practice, every day that I dropped into my body, dropped into my energy field and realigned myself with source, it allowed for that renewal and allowed for that divine essence to start to move through me, okay? So questions are anything that are coming up around money, sex, God, also any of the erotic blueprints, kinky, sexual shame, trauma, beingness, truth, struggle, fear, anxiety, what else? Those are kind of the big ones that I like to play in. You can ask any of those questions, anything, any part of your life that's currently a struggle for you. You can type that in and we can give you some channeling, some insight on what may help clear that out and what may help you in that situation. So if you are feeling called, please go ahead and ask a question. In the meantime, I'm gonna wait. Hi, Beck. Hey, Lassa. Got a bunch of you on Instagram as well. So any questions that are arising, I don't think I had any more. Lassa says, which blueprint seems to hold abundance back? So abundance will be held back by the shadow of any of the blueprints. So there are 5 erotic blueprints, right? The energetic, the sensual, the kinky, the sexual, and the shapeshifter. When we're in the shadow of anyone, we're in constriction around the expansion of the blueprint. So if you're in the energetic shadow of feeling overwhelmed and dissociating out of your body, right? You cannot fully receive abundance because you're in that space. If you're in the shadow of the sensual, of hypervigilance to the environment, right? If you're in that hypervigilant space, that's also going to hold back your natural abundance flow. If you're in the shadow of the kinky, which is deep shame, that's not going to allow for your divine self to come out and through you, and not going to allow you to receive abundance, right? If you're in the shadow of the sexual, which is trying to get to the point and not enjoying the journey, then you can't have abundance because you're too hyper-focused and intending too harshly on the outcome. So money can't flow through you. If you're in the shadow of the shapeshifter, feeling like you're too much, right, then abundance can't flow to you because you already feel like you're too much. So why would you want more, right? So yeah, to answer your question, I see you asked a follow-up question, Elisha. What I've found with clients is one of the ways that abundance starts to come in really beautifully is when we can start to expand into every single blueprint. And what that's doing is it is allowing our nervous system to open up. So once we learn how to find pleasure in stillness, anticipation, once we learn how to find pleasure in our body and the skin and love the skin we're in, like practice deep self-love, right? That's a really common block to abundance, is a lack of self-love. So practicing that of the sensual. Once we learn to move into our dark edges, our naughty taboo edges, and play the game of life in the kinky blueprint, right? Then we're not afraid of anything anymore, and that's gonna allow more abundance in. Once we learn to really celebrate our eroticism, to celebrate our naked bodies, to celebrate our genitals, to celebrate our erotic life force, right? That's going to allow for the creative flow, the creative surge of energy, which will then bring us abundance, which is the sexual blueprint. It's a sexual blueprint. And then once we learn the shapeshifter blueprint, how to fully expand into that and learn that we can have everything all at once, and we are no longer one thing sexually, right? To learn how to adapt in all sexual situations so that we can be everything often all at once, which is the shapeshifter, stepping into expansion of the shapeshifter, then abundance will flow to us. Because we're no longer identified with anything. We're no longer identified with being, oh, I only like this, or I only like that, right? So once we lose the identification, we become no one. Money flows to us because we're no longer in this place of saying, oh, I have a lot of it, or I don't have any of it. We're no longer in the space of desiring something that we don't have because we're not anything. Right? So the shapeshifter has this beautiful expansive ability. Yeah, Elasa said the shapeshifter seems to hold it all. Exactly. There's a tendency in the shapeshifter body to be able to take whatever situation you're in real life and transmute it into pleasure, right? So that seems pretty abundant to me. If we know that there's nothing that we're going to run into in real life that may stop our flow, that may stop our creativity or our sexual energy or our pleasure or our passion, then yeah, we'll have loads of abundance. And that's been my story and what's happened to me over the past few years with abundance is as I expand my nervous system, I keep holding more and more money, more and more jewels, more and more richness and abundance of love and abundance of joy and abundance of experience because I'm allowing my nervous system to simply be. And I'm recognizing that I no longer need to identify in any of my boxes. So it's almost as if the blueprints are there to first self-identify and then release the identification as we find our sexual awakening, right? Okay, other questions that are popping up. I don't know how to say your name, Saida Sarali. Sex after the old age of 45. My love, that's not an old age. Any suggestions? Find your sex. Find your erotic essence. Find you. Find your desire. Find your turn on. Begin with turning inward and finding your own sexual sovereignty, finding your own self-pleasure practice. What do you want? What do you desire? What gets you turned on and excited and passionate about life? Start there. From that place, when that's fully turned on and illuminated and full, you become like this radiant magnet. And so it doesn't matter how old you are. I've seen some of the sexiest people 65, 70 years old. Does not matter because they have their full erotic essence inside of themselves. Cool Deep says, seeking deeper connection has become the biggest sexual turn on for me. Am I making it more difficult? No. No. I want you to first know, Cool Deep, that the deep connection that you're seeking has to start from the connection with self. So if you're looking outside and you're seeking this deep, intimate connection with multiple people, and every time that it's happening, you're going, that's not quite what I want. That's not quite what I want. That's not quite what I want. Then what's happening is that's just a projection mechanism, right? And what we want to start is turn that connection back onto yourself. How deeply can you feel yourself? How deeply can you recognize how your energy is flowing through your body? How deeply can you recognize where your body wants to be touched, what it desires sexually? How deeply can you recognize the connection that you need and how to give yourself that every day? Start there, and then deep connection will be around you everywhere. Right? Start with that connection with self, and then you'll notice every interaction you have will become exactly that. The internal reality always shapes our external reality. So everything that you're doing internally is going to be shown to you. If you're finding that you're not getting deep enough connections outside of you, that's a mechanism to turn back inward, right? And shift the reality inside of yourself, where you get to create that connection that you're craving. That will then get flipped and you'll find it everywhere else. It's kind of how my life is today. I fall in love like that because I'm so deeply in love with my own essence, with my own energy. I have such a deep connection with my body. I know exactly, she wants to be touched here today. She's got a lot of fire here. Like I got it. I'm with her. Every day I'm with her, and I'm bringing divinity and source down into her every day. So then when I go outside and I meet people, they're people that are ready. They're ready, they're present, they're right here. And boom, we get to fall in love like that. That's how simple it is, because I filled myself up so much, right? So much that I don't need to seek anything outside. That's your key. Got 5 more minutes. Any other questions? I see more on. Someone says they have no familiarity with the blueprints. Someone said, I'm so happy I watched this live. It's so beautiful to listen to. I wish for more people to radiate. Me too. I want more people to radiate like this. Me too. It's amazing. It's amazing because it's life. So when people are attracted to you and your radiance, they'll start to say things like, I had someone say to me the other day, they texted me and said, I just want to be in your presence. Just want to be in your presence. I don't need to do anything with it. I just want to be in your presence. That's how you know that you're giving yourself the connection and the energetic filling that you really desire, right? Money, Saida Sarali, you keep asking this question on money. Money is the same energy as sexual fullness. The level to which you're satisfied with your own erotic essence is the level to which you'll be able to accumulate, hold, transmute money in and out of your body, right? The second that the erotic essence is dimmed or goes into shadow, the second that your money is going to drop. That, remember, that internal reality is going to create your external reality, right? There was a question. Oh, I thought there was one on Instagram, but I guess that wasn't. Okay. 4 minutes. Any questions? 4. I have a client in a few. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Someone on Instagram said, that's how I feel after 30 seconds being in this presence. What an amazing energy. Thank you. And I wanted to say to that, on comment to that, it has nothing to do with me. Like, I'm not actually here. Right? So the energy that you're feeling is simply just life. It's just life. Right? And any attraction that you feel towards me is life. You're like, oh wow, life's here. I want life, right? And that's all we want, and that's all we're craving. And it has nothing to do with how I look or what I'm wearing or anything like that. So I just want to give you that. Gina, this is a great question, and I'll answer it to close. Thank you. Aren't there more important connections with yourself besides sexual? So I think this question is coming from a place in, now this is an assumption and hallucination. I may be getting this wrong. I may be getting this whole thing wrong. I just want to clarify that. I don't know anything that you guys don't know. I'm just mirroring. I think this question is probably coming from an assumption that we're assuming that sexual energy is genitally focused, is orgasm or climax focused, is erotic, right? What we think of as erotic focused. And what I'm actually getting at here is the 5 erotic blueprints, right? Which are not, sexual is one of the 5. Okay, and most Western society thinks of sex as like genital climax, right? Penetration, genital climax, orgasm. Now, when I talk about, like today, my self-pleasure practice was, I was lying on the ground on my living room floor with a yoga mat. I was moving my body really slowly. I didn't even want to touch my genitals. I was breathing, and I was feeling my energy. That was it, like 20 minutes. And I felt turn on, but it was a full body turn on, moving up and through my body. And that's not better or worse than any of the other ways of being with self. Like sometimes an orgasm wants to happen, right? And it's all about moving eros. It's about moving energy, moving life force through our body. So if you're an energetic, you most likely won't want to touch your genitals, right? It may not even feel like turn on. It may feel like buzzing or tingling, but it might not be like a turned on. You might not feel a flood of blood in your genitals, right? It may be like some tingling here or tingling here or tingling here. You may start shaking. If you're a sensual, it may be more of a massage practice, right? Or a yummy feeling like, ooh, a bath, or something that tastes really good. If you're a kinky, feeding yourself might look like playing in your shadow, like spending a night in your shadow and just diving into depths of thinking about, you know, the parts of yourself that feel dirty or wrong, and allowing them to be freed, and allowing those fantasies to come forward, and allowing all parts of you to be here and present, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean genital and climax. And I've noticed actually that in my sexual awakening, my energy seems to be very, like I seem to get almost just as much pleasure on my clitoris, for example, as I do on the tip of my nose, right? And it's not necessarily a sexual pleasure. It's like a life pleasure. It's like an enlivening. It's a contact. It's a presence. It's a beingness of, whoa, I'm alive. And it's a deep feeling of self that then allows for a dissolving of the rest of yourself so that you can simply be. That's what the practice is. And that's what I mean by spending time with yourself every day and cultivating that. You're going to have an opportunity to do this with me if you desire. This is something that I used to ask for investment on, and the past couple months I've made it free. And it's pretty awesome. It's called the 5-day self-pleasure challenge. So what we're going to be doing is every day you're going to play with a different way of being with your nervous system, of being with yourself. Some of it will be genital focused and some of it will not be. And there are going to be days that you hate and days that you love. And maybe you'll love all of it and maybe you'll like all of it will bring up stuff. But what I can guarantee is that you'll leave those 5 days with a strong awareness of where your body's been starving and what your body actually needs to finally feel full, probably for the first time in your life. This will allow a dissolution of fear, right? A dissolving of hesitation, of anxiety, of pain and tension in the body. It's going to start to allow for all of that to shift so that you can really be present in life. We're alive, guys. It's time to play. So that starts on September 23rd. It's online. It's in a group called The Pleasure Tribe. If you're not already in there, you're going to go into the search bar and you're going to type in The Pleasure Tribe. There are 1,000 people in there, all really dedicated to reclaiming this life force energy by finding the wholeness of themselves and not sticking to one way of finding it, but really allowing for the cohesion of different roadways and roadmaps to getting to your full sexual aliveness. There's so many ways to do it. So go in there, 5 days. We start September 23rd. We're gonna let people in starting on September 9th. And the more people that you invite, if you invite 50 people and all 50 of those people are added, to be added, you must answer all of the questions when you're coming in. So if you invite 50 people, you get a free 60-minute session with me. That's $1,000 value, highly transformational, highly recommend getting 50 people in there. Remember, they have to answer the questions by September 23rd or September 22nd at midnight in order to get in. So invite as many people as you can, jump on in. We'd love to see you. It's a huge, amazing, transformational week. Last time, like, the whole universe blew up. It was awesome. I've got to run now. I love you guys so much. If you're watching on replay, ask questions and I'll answer them next week on next week's Q&A. Big, big, big love to you. Mwah.